Hello there. Hope you are having a blessed and an anointed Holy Week. Maybe you've come a long way since Ash Wednesday, or maybe not. Maybe getting closer to Jesus in prayer and in fasting has really helped your spiritual lives. Or maybe you didn't go down that road because you weren't interested. Whatever path it is that you took that leads up to Good Friday, most of us, if not all of us, do feel a sense of sadness and love for Jesus on Friday, the day that we remember he died for us. But if we rewind back 2000 plus years before he went up on that cross and when he was on trial in front of Pilate, imagine we were part of that crowd. Would we too have shouted, "Crucify him"? Come to think of it, I'm sure the answer for most of us in our heads are like, no, I wouldn't have said that. But I say let us read that part of scripture for a bit before we respond, shall we? Matthew 27:11-23. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "You say so." But when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, "Do you not hear how many accusations they make against you?" But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release for you? Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, "Have nothing to do with that innocent man, for today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him." Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" All of them said, "Let him be crucified." Then he asked, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." You see, in this whole section, one of the most important things is that it's about betrayal. Let me tell you why. When Pilate asked, "Who do you want set free?" they chose Barabbas. And for Jesus, they said, "Crucify him." Now, these people in the crowd, they could have been people Jesus healed or helped. Maybe the people that he fed, in the 5,000. Or at least people Jesus never harmed or hurt, because Jesus did no wrong to anyone. But in spite of that, they shouted, "Crucify him." Can you imagine the level of betrayal that Jesus must have felt at that moment? He must have thought, "I did everything for these people, but this is what they give me? Betrayal?" Now, even though he may have felt this, and it may seem like it's a situation where Jesus was helpless, he wasn't. Because if you remember what Jesus said, "Do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once send me more than 12 legions of angels?" This was after Peter had cut the soldier's ear with a sword, when they came to arrest Jesus in Gethsemane, which makes it very clear that Jesus was not helpless. He could have gotten out if he chose to do so. But he went through betrayal. He went through all the suffering. He went to the cross. He went to his death, so that even the very people betraying him can be saved. Okay, it may seem like I'm telling you things you already know. And maybe you do. I don't doubt that. But the point I want us to keep in mind is that Jesus was not helpless. He chose. He chose because he loves us. And here it is. Even today when you betray him, he isn't helpless. Even today when you sin and keep hurting him, he isn't helpless. He can stop you. He can put an end to you. But he does not do that because he loved you then. He loves you now. And he will always love you. And when we sin, we are just taking advantage of that love. And on top of that, we have the nerve to say, "Oh, if I was in those crowds, I wouldn't have shouted, 'Crucify him.' No way. I love Jesus way too much. I would never do that to him." But then, when we go spend time with our friends and we see them doing wrong, gossiping, slander, and even shaming someone they don't like, we don't stop them. Instead, sometimes we even join them. When Jesus clearly said, "Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another." When we read this, we say, "Yes, Jesus, yes, surely." And then when the moment comes with our friends, betrayal. When a family member has wronged us and we treat them badly because of it. When Jesus said we must forgive 70 times 7, but we still don't forgive. What is that? Betrayal. Also, when God has called you to do something for Him and you reject it because you are so occupied with things of this world that you cannot make time for Him. When you have the opportunity to evangelize and bring people to Jesus, but you just don't do that and instead say, "Let someone else do it." And you completely forget the words of Jesus that is meant for each and every one of us. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. All these things that Jesus said, the ones we mentioned and the rest, are things He wants us to live by. When we chose to be Christians, we chose to be Christ's followers, followers of His words and teachings. And when we don't, we betray Him. So let me ask this again now. If we were there in that moment, would we have shouted, "Crucify Him"? Let's be honest. The answer is probably yes. We forget Him when we most need to remember Him. We betray Him in times we need to acknowledge Him. We crucify Him when we choose sin over Him. Hey, I'm not trying to condemn anyone. All I'm trying to do is make us realize that we are broken people, living in a broken world. And without Jesus, we will continue to be that way. But with Jesus, we are free. And we will continue to be free only if we continue to abide in Him. Just because we messed up, we don't need to be like Judas and... Judas was someone Jesus loved and accepted. We are loved and accepted too. We just need to go back to Him. What I'm saying is, during this time, let us make a choice to do our very best, to never betray Him again, never shout again, "Crucify Him," but instead obey Him, stand by His side, and live by His words. I know it's easier said than done, but I urge you this season to just say it, that you will obey Him, you will stand by His side and live by His words, and then ask for the grace to go through with it. I believe all of us have it in us to live on His side. And the 3 P's that can help us do that are passion, place, and possess. 1, have a deep passion for Jesus because of His passion for you. Because only if you really love Him, you are going to be able to do the next 2, which are 2, place yourself by His side, in His daily presence, so that you may have the grace, not only just when you need Him, but all the time. 3, possess His words in your heart, so you may remember it and live by it for every situation in your life. He doesn't need to be crucified anymore. That's already done. He needs to be magnified and glorified. So let us do that now and forever. Time for betrayal is done. Salvation is already won. So let us all live by Jesus and let the blessings come. Peace.